months ago, my granddaughter filmed me at the gym. I was doing something I had waited 60 years to do. She posted it with one line underneath it. My grandma is 74. She just deadlifted 160 pounds. By the following morning, 3 million people had seen it. The comments were all asking the same question. How does a woman her age do that? The answer is not what they expected. I didn't find strength at 74. I found permission. Permission to finally be exactly who I always was. And it only took me 60 years to stop apologizing for it. My name is Vivian. I am 74 years old. And I have to tell you something I have never really said out loud before. Not because I am ashamed of it, but because I spent 60 years being told I should be. Society spent 6 decades calling me difficult, restless, the wrong kind of woman. They were right. I was wrong for every role they ever tried to put me in. And that is the best thing that ever happened to me. But I didn't know that until I was 65. My story begins in 1957. I was 8 years old. My father took me to a track meet at the local high school, and I watched a woman cross the finish line. She wasn't beautiful the way magazines said women should be. She was powerful. Her arms were pumping. Her jaw was set. She crossed that line like she owned the ground beneath her feet. I grabbed my father's sleeve. That is what I want to be. He smiled. The kind of smile that means no. Vivian, he said, women are not built for that. I was 8 years old. I believed him. For 20 years, I believed him. I grew up the way a good girl was supposed to grow up. Studied quietly. Married young. At 24, I married a man named Thomas. Thomas was steady, responsible. Kind in the way quiet men are kind. He never stopped me from dreaming. He simply never noticed that I was dreaming at all. The children came, 2 of them. And like most mothers in the 1970s, I became invisible in the best possible way. Present for everyone, absent for myself. I ran errands in the morning, I cooked in the evening, and somewhere in between, I ran. Just around the neighborhood, just short bursts. The neighbors called me restless. Thomas said I had too much energy for my own good. The other women said I was showing off. I was not showing off. I was just the only version of myself that the leftover hours allowed. When I was 42, Thomas died. A heart attack on a Tuesday morning, sudden and complete. And I was alone, with 2 teenagers, an empty half of the bed, and 30 years ahead of me that nobody had prepared me for. My 50s were quiet in a way that frightened me. The children grew up and moved away. I worked part-time at the school library. The community looked at me the way communities look at widowed women of a certain age, with a kind of polite pity. You are past the interesting part of your story. You are in the epilogue now. Settle in. I was not ready for the epilogue, but I didn't know what I was ready for. I just knew that feeling, that restless, unfinished feeling, had never left. Not from the day I stood beside that track at 8 years old. Not in 40 years of being someone else's good wife and good mother and good neighbor. It was still there, waiting. On my 65th birthday, my granddaughter Claire took me to the gym. She was 22, bright-eyed, training for a half marathon. She thought it would be fun. A little birthday activity for her grandmother. Something gentle. Something safe. What she didn't know was that the moment I walked through that door, Something switched on inside me that had been off for 60 years. The weight of iron, the smell of effort. People pushing their bodies past what they thought was possible. I walked up to a trainer, a young man, very patient. "I want to learn how to lift," I said. He looked at me carefully. "We have a senior program," he said, very gentle, low impact. "I don't want gentle," I said. "I want to lift heavy things." A long pause. And then, to his credit, he nodded. "Okay," he said. "Let's start." The first 3 months were humbling. I could barely lift the practice bar. My hands shook. My form was terrible. My knees ached for days after every session. Claire drove me home and watched me walk slowly to the door. She said nothing. But I came back, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, without missing a single session in the first year. The trainers started noticing, not because I was impressive, but because I was relentless. A year in, I was lifting my own body weight. A year and a half in, I entered a master's competition. I came in dead last. I cried on the drive home. Happy tears. The kind you cry when something you waited 60 years for finally arrives, quietly, in last place, at 66 years old, and feels like the greatest victory of your life. Here is what nobody tells you about starting something late. The waiting does not disappear. Those 60 years of restlessness, they don't vanish the moment you begin. What happens is something quieter. You realize the waiting was not wasted. It was building pressure. A kind of pressure that makes you more grateful, more serious, more willing to do the unglamorous work than anyone half your age. The 22-year-olds at my gym train because they want to look a certain way. I train because I have been waiting 66 years to feel this way. There is a difference. Society called me difficult, restless, the wrong kind of woman. I understand now what they were actually saying. They were saying, "You do not fit the space we made for you." And they were right. I never did. The space they made for me was always too small. And fitting yourself into a space that was never meant for you is not success. It is just a very long, very quiet surrender. Now at 74, I hold 2 state records in my age group. My granddaughter Claire trains beside me on Saturdays. She stopped running half marathons. She lifts now. She says I ruined her for every other sport. I take that as the highest compliment of my life. If there is a restlessness in you, a dream that other people called impractical or inappropriate, or simply wrong for someone like you, listen to me carefully. That restlessness is not a character flaw. It is a direction. It has been trying to tell you something your whole life. Don't spend 60 years not listening. I cannot give you back the years you have already spent in the wrong space. But I can tell you this. Whatever is waiting on the other side of what they told you was impossible, it is still there. It has been waiting as long as you have. The 8-year-old inside you is still standing at that finish line, still watching, still believing with everything she has that someday that person will be you. That someday is today.